book lovers, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about some romance trope that honestly just don't do it for me. Now don't get me wrong, there are definitely many romance tropes that I love and some are just chef's kiss when done right. That's always the thing we have to look out for. Of course, all tropes can be done really badly, but even if these tropes are done right, I don't know, can they be done right? Some of them just either feel lazy or right out problematic, and maybe some of them should have just been left in the early 2000s. So buckle up, grab your favorite beverage, and let's talk about some of the biggest offenders in my opinion. If your opinion is different, that's totally fine. Please don't take any of this too seriously. This is just for fun. The first one is second chance romance. Oh my god. I've read so many of these that just have not been done well. And I think it's actually very difficult to pull this off. I mean, in theory, the idea of reconnecting with someone that you have a past with, that you already have a lot in common with because you've spent time together, you've seen each other grow, maybe you've even grown after the ended relationship, and now you've overcome some of the obstacles. But truly, most of the time that is not really the case. It has potential. But then, to me, a lot of the time, this is just a lazy way of not having to build up a real connection between the characters. Because you just tell the readers, oh, they have a past together, and now you have to believe like there is a connection already, they know each other already. And I think it's very hard to bring that across on page because you never really, if we don't really do a deep dive on why they split up, what the reasons were, how they even met in the first place, what connected them, why they should be together, that's a big one because just telling me they had a past and that's why they should be together again now doesn't do it for me. You still need to tell me why they are compatible, and especially why they are compatible now when they weren't in the past. And that's the main thing. It really, really depends so much on why they broke up in the first place. And I have seen so many red flags, oh my god. Because most of the time it comes down to some kind of betrayal of trust, or just one person having trust issues, and a lot of miscommunication. And miscommunication tropes also aren't really my thing either, so that often goes hand in hand. It's just too often that these things are just a major red flag that I can't seem to get over in the span of a novel. Like, if he ghosted you for 3 years or cheated and now he suddenly changed, girl, run. Don't get back together with him. And don't even get me started on when the reason for the breakup is never even properly explained. I hate that so much. It makes me really angry because you feel like you've just wasted so much time and nothing ever comes of it. If the author doesn't give me a good reason why these two broke up, and a great reason why they should be together again, then I just can't do it. I can't. It just feels like emotional whiplash. I feel like even in real life, second chance romances are so difficult and there's so much that comes with it, and it rarely ever works out. There have to be really great circumstances for that I just think there are better tropes for a romance novel. But one that definitely is not better than second chance romance is the good old pregnancy trope. Like, what the heck? Why is this still a thing? Like, isn't this outdated by now? Now listen, I'm not against stories that include pregnancy in general. When handled with care and realism, it can add depth to a story. But, huge but, where it completely loses me is when a pregnancy is used as a convenient plot point to fix a relationship or solve conflict. And I've seen it not only in romance books, also in fantasy or romantasy in that case, I guess. I mean, just really picture it. A couple is on the verge of breaking up, or they've already broken up. And suddenly, boom, we have a positive pregnancy test. And now they are just magically back together. I mean, really, that just doesn't work like that. That's not a solution for your problems. That is a band-aid on a sinking ship still going down. That no child is going to fix that. Even couples that are doing great before don't have it easy when they have a child. And now you're telling me that you, with all your issues, can magically work it out because you're pregnant. I don't think so. I think there's a reason why these books make a cut after they get back together. Because the whole difficult part is still coming. And the baby shouldn't be the reason why you stay with someone. Not in books and not in real life. It should complement an already healthy relationship, not force one. And this trope is so difficult in books because a lot of the time we get this situation where the father learns about the pregnancy and then is like, oh yeah, of course I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to be with you. And now we're back together. And if I were in that situation, I would always wonder, is he with me because of me or because of the baby? And actually this might be the worst trope of them all because that is the least romantic thing I can think of. And I don't see how that could be romantic to anyone. I mean, yeah, it's nice if he wants to take care of the baby, but that's kind of what you're supposed to do as a father. So that's not good enough for a reason for it to work out between the two of them. That's a whole different relationship, right? I just can't wrap my head around it. This trope just really gives me the ick because it feels so manipulative and also emotionally shallow. There's no real depth in the relationship if that is the reason why you're back together. So please, can we just stop that? Can we please don't do it anymore? I just recently read a book that had this trope and I also recommended it, but I totally forgot about that trope until now because in my head, if that happens, I'm just pretending it didn't. To me, that never happened. They just got back together and they were happy, but the pregnancy is no part of that. I'm just rewriting the story in my head. So that's not something I want to do as a reader. Please do better. Please don't use this trope. The next one, I guess, is not as bad as the other ones to me, except in certain situations. The trope is opposite of status. So that means if somebody is a billionaire and she's a small town girl or like a waitress or something like that, or we have a royal and the commoner, or worst of them all, CEO and the intern. Since when is that okay? I mean, it's such a classic, and I kind of get that sometimes exactly these power dynamics are what make these interesting and why people read them. But I think it's only good if you do that consciously and if you realize that you like it as a trope, but in real life it would be really weird and you wouldn't want that. I mean, the power dynamic, I can get it in a kind of fantasy, dark romance, whatever kind of way. It's not really a dark romance, but it kind of goes in the same fantasy type of direction. And I've seen far too many books not handle this trope with care. I've read my fair share of billionaire romances. I made a video about this. I hated all of them, especially the ones by E.L. James. Just really off-putting. Can't say that I liked anything about this because so often these books really romanticize and glorify controlling women's lives, stalking them, buying the company they work at, and therefore controlling their job, intimidating other men in their lives, not letting them have contact with any other man. A lot of toxic behavior. Sometimes the character even say that they are uncomfortable with the way that the MMC is behaving, because it's always the MMC, it's never the other way around somehow. But still, then they're being gaslit. So that's that. But I do know that there are good ways that this trope can be pulled off, and that, for example, if the characters openly address the power dynamic and they talk about it and find ways to work around it, then it can be fine. And what I also think is really difficult in these situations and with this trope is making it believable that the characters actually have something in common and that they are meant to be together, except for just physical attraction and the forbidden romance aspect, that is something that often comes with it. I want to have reasons why they like each other. And the reason should not be that he can buy everything he wants. That is not a good enough reason. So there needs to be good relationship build up, actual things they have in common, hobbies, whatever. Even interest in their job would be fine if they're working at the same company or something like that. But please don't make it that awkward. Please don't keep this power dynamic if it's not for the sake of fantasy. Please just don't romanticize it. And I don't want to be this negative about it because I know a lot of people like this and enjoy this type of romance, and I do get it to a certain degree. So just be careful that you're not influenced by this in real life, and especially I think for younger readers, just be careful out there. Then we have a trope that just is there to create a lot of drama. There's no other reason to include this trope in your book. It is the bet or the dare trope, which basically means that one of the main characters had a bet or a dare with another person or another friend group to be with this love interest. Wow, I didn't need to explain that, did I? Anyways, I did. On the one hand, of course, this can create a lot of high stakes and drama, and I get that it is a kind of believable reason to create conflict in a relationship, other than having just a regular miscommunication trope in there. But just having this betrayal from the very beginning of the relationship on, I don't really know how to come back from that. Because that actually happened to a friend of mine in school, in real life. And let me tell you, that was not pretty. That was not a good time for her. And before that happened, I thought that just happened in books, but apparently some people, I don't know if they're inspired by these books or just stupid in general. That is not something nice to do, and it can really hurt people. And I guess because of that situation, I'm a little bit more sensitive towards this trope. But just in general, how are you supposed to believe that a relationship is going to last if everything is built up on a lie? Not only with this trope, just in general, that is a thing that sometimes happens in romance books, and I just can't get behind it. Lying is such a red flag for me that I think, I don't know, if somebody was blackmailing them or something like that for some reason, that could be a valid explanation, but other than that, and a lot of the time these characters are forgiven so easily and it's just done so quickly. It's like, oh yeah, I started this whole relationship as a joke and for fun, and I laughed about you behind your back with my friends, but now I'm in love. Who believes that? If somebody ever made me the subject of a dare, I would honestly never talk to them again, let alone fall in love with them. This trope just feels so dated and so manipulative. I'm really sad that some big names, some very well-known authors still use this trope as the foundation for their books. I'm looking at Al Kennedy here. Like, what was that? Why? That's just going to ruin the whole book for me, honestly. And the last one is another book trope that just gives me the shivers because, probably the most unromantic thing possible is the second choice wins trope. You know the one. The protagonist spends the majority of the time in the book pining over somebody else, or just doesn't see our heroine at all, maybe even makes some comments about how he could never be with her, maybe even calls her ugly or like someone he could never even see in that way. And then, epiphany! Actually, this girl is cute. And yeah, maybe she's had a makeover. Of course, she's wearing some different clothes. She took off her glasses. She got a new haircut. Now she's the one I'll choose. Or even better, she made out with someone else and I got really jealous. And now finally I can see this girl is actually worth something because another man is interested in her. What the heck? Stop it. Stop it right now. I have two main problems with it. One, why didn't you see how perfect that person was the whole time, even though they were right in front of you? And second of all, if it takes somebody else rejecting you to like someone, no. Nobody wants to be the second choice. Why is that even a trope? maybe you don't actually deserve them. And as I just said, it's also often combined with a makeover, and that is used especially in combination with also the love interest being the best friend's little sister, or him being the brother's best friend. And that is just concerning to me. If people are saying stuff like, oh, I just see you as the little girl I grew up with, and I just see you as this child, and now you got a new haircut and a makeover, and now I see you as somebody I find attractive, just gives me the don't call her a child and then start dating her. That is not cute. That is really not cute. Not a good look. All in all, this one just doesn't give healthy relationship vibes to me, and I just think there needs to be some kind of pining or attraction beforehand to actually make this work in some kind of way, but it's really difficult. And it also feels outdated. So there you have it. 5 romance tropes that I personally cannot stand and that I think should just not be used anymore, honestly. Or the authors have to be really inventive with their storytelling to make them work. And look, if these are your favorite tropes, I'm not here to rain on your parade. This is just my opinion. And I bet there are books out there with these tropes that are great and where writers put in everything to make it work. But just the ones that I have read didn't work for me. But sometimes a trope can hit just right, even if it's messy. And that's okay too. Now it's your turn. Did I roast any of your favorite tropes? And which are the tropes that you cannot stand? Or are there any other romance clichés that drive you crazy? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!